How's it going, everyone? It's Pengu here, and I'm going to be jumping into some teamfight tactics today. I know this isn't the standard Forza content, but earlier this morning when I tried to log into Forza Horizon 6, it couldn't sync my save file. So to prevent any further issues, I will instead wait until the problem is resolved before I can bring you guys a video on the Pantera and the DB17 GT. I will still have a Forza video coming out tomorrow on the channel that I recorded from before, but for right now, I'll be jumping into some other games that I enjoy playing and creating content for those. With Teamfight Tactics here, or TFT for short, I've been playing since set 1-ish, but more of in an off and on fashion, so it's not like I've played every single set, or I haven't played some sets nearly as much as others. But TFT, for those of you that don't know, is an auto battler using the characters from Riot Games' League of Legends. You buy units, you level up those units by buying multiple copies of the units, and then you put items on them to make them stronger. And then you go into battle where the computer handles all of the fighting for both sides. So you don't have to deal with any mechanical outplays or anything like that. It is just all decided by the computer and your strategy before the battle takes place. While there is plenty more depth than that, it is just the basics, and I'll explain more throughout the game as things come up. So, I know this intro is a little bit long, so let's jump right into a game here. Alright, loading up here into a Choncc Treasure Lore and Legends, which is a little bit more chaotic game mode that I just prefer to play right now, and it is a limited time mode, so I'm just going to play as many as I can. We're going to be starting out with Teemo as our encounter here. Encounters just give a little bit of a flair to the game. So, our first unit that we're going to get, and this is only because we are playing Choncc Treasure, is going to be a Thresh. Now, what Choncc Treasure does is it just gives you a unit that's a 4 or 5 cost, and it'll allow you to then play that unit way earlier than you'd ever get it before. And so, we're going to be getting to play with a 5 cost Thresh off the rip, and we're going to get a Rek'Sai, a Twisted Fate, and an Echo off our orb. And I'm not sure I'm really feeling playing any of these units. I might keep the Echo, but I think I'm going to end up selling the Twisted Fate and the Rek'Sai here. And realistically, I'm probably actually just going to end up selling the Echo here too to make interest. So interest and gold is a really core part of TFT, as you need to get as much gold as possible to really build a strong board. You know, if you don't have a lot of gold, you're not going to be able to build a strong enough board to actually win fights. And so every 10 gold, you get plus 1 gold the next round. So if I hover this real quick, you'll see your total possible income, and you can see your passive income, your interest income, and then your win and loss streaks. You always get 1 gold for each win, but I'm just going to go ahead and slam an item on here just to make sure that's handled. But you can also get a bunch of extra gold from winning a bunch of rounds in a row and losing a bunch of rounds in a row. So the goal is to win as many rounds in a row as possible, because then you're getting maximum value. You're not losing health, you're winning fights, and you're getting that income at the highest possible rate. But there is strategies to also lose a bunch of rounds in a row. It is a bit risky, but it can usually yield some pretty strong rewards. So now we're going to come into augment selection. You get offered 3 different augments, and you get to pick which one you want. And they give crazy effects. Like this one gives us Spatula, which, while you might not know what a spatula is, it can give us the ability to go really deep into a trait. Woven Magic gives us the ability to potentially get some components. Warlord's Honor gives us the ability to just kind of stack power on our units. I'm going to end up re-rolling the Warlord's Honor and the Seraphim Staff. I'm going to re-roll Earth. I'm going to re-roll Woven Magic and the Bloodthirster. And we're going to end up taking solo leveling. Which solo leveling means we only get to play 1 unit, but that 1 unit is giga strong. For the next 5 combats, your team is 1 size, so we can only have 1 unit, but the champion field gets massive stats, and he gets XP for every kill they get. Afterwards, you get 2 item components. So this early on, a Thresh is going to be able to handle its business pretty handily, especially with armor, which is going to allow him to take less damage from auto attacks, and then a whole bunch of healing here. I mean, he's up to 52% Omnivap. And I mentioned it earlier with that spatula comment, but we have traits. So what traits are is every single unit, if I come over here to the Thresh, you're going to have 2 traits, sometimes even 3. Some will only have 1. But for the most part, you're going to have traits. And traits are going to determine what the unit is going to be playing for in a way, and what the unit is going to want to be surrounded with. So for Thresh here, he's a Shadow Isles champion. You can see these other 4 Shadow Isles champions, if I come over here, Viego, Yorick, Gwen, and Callista. And you can also read here that whenever a champion dies, we gain souls. And Shadow Isles gain stronger abilities dependent on those souls. You also see that we'll get some stats depending on how many levels of Shadow Isles we have. So with us being only at 1 unit, we don't actually have Shadow Isles active yet. And so we're not going to be getting any value from those stats. Down here below our interest and our income, and down here below our gold is going to be our shop. The shop is going to be filled with units that are going to be re-rolling after every single combat. You'll have anything from 1 cost all the way up to 5 costs, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they'll be indicated by the color on the border. So you can see this Anivia here is a 1 cost. This Teemo here is a 2 cost, and this Mundo here is a 3 cost. So by using that, we can look at these units and see, kind of gauge a little bit of how strong they're actually going to be. You know, this Jarvan might be strong, but this Mundo's probably going to be stronger because you have to spend 2 more gold to get them. And 2 more gold might not seem like that crazy, or it could seem like it's really crazy. I don't know really what you guys' knowledge of this game is, but even 1 gold can completely determine how this game goes. So, loading into our 3rd fight here, we're going to be facing off against a T-Hex, and this fight's probably going to end up being a loss, as I just don't think we're going to be able to kill the T-Hex before this Talisman procs. Because after 22 seconds, this T-Hex gains a crazy amount of health. Although, I was unaware that that's how that worked. I did not realize that if the T-Hex died right as it procced, the unit didn't get any value. So, we ended up actually winning that fight and keeping our win streak alive. And that brings us to the carousel. You're going to see these units walking around in a circle, and they all have items above them. These are called components. You can hover over them, see what the components do. But you basically get to wait in a turn of order in reverse scoreboard order to go and grab a unit off the carousel. I'm going to go ahead and grab this belt with a Leona, because I just think that'll be a good item for us to have down the line. But the carousel can have some really powerful rewards, and it can give you that item that you've been looking for the longest time, or it can be completely useless to you because you just don't get anything that you need. We're going to end up getting another Bramble Vest off the Choncc delivery, and then we're going to also get a Yunara. Yunara is a backline carry, and will allow us to have a unit that can just do a bunch of damage while our Thresh just sits up here and tanks. But again, we have to wait until the soul leveling wears off, which will be on this Gromps combat. And this Gromp combat is not against a player, it's just against the computer that's set up a not all that difficult little challenge for you, and it'll just have 3 Gromps on the opposing team, no items or anything, and you'll have to see if you can beat it. Usually it's not too big of an issue. You know, you can run into some problems at later points with some of the later combat rounds for those PvE encounters, but for the most part, you're not going to have too many issues. And our Thresh here is going to be able to do a crazy amount of work, as he just is not going to die. He has so much healing, he doesn't take really all that much damage. While this Choncc is annoying, it's not going to end up being enough, as Thresh is just going to slowly whittle him down and burn him. Even when he's inside, he's still burning. Although we actually do end up losing because Choncc gained enough AP to just execute him. That is unfortunate, as I really think we were the stronger board there, but that is Choncc for you. He is also gaining so much health back off the Crown of Demacia, which is a really strong item, but if he were to have died, he then immediately loses the fight. So, you know, it's a trade-off. We're now going to wait as we load into our very next round. And we got another Leona here. Leona's really strong. The whole thing of Targon units is that they're really strong, but they don't actually have any value for having more of them, as they are what are called traitless. You know, it has a trait, but the trait literally does nothing. It's just there to tell you that there's a bunch of units like this. We are going to probably end up losing this fight as well, as it's just too much damage for our Thresh to heal through. It is unfortunate, but we did end up getting a lot of value off of our Shadow Isles unit and the solo leveling here. So, and here is that PvE encounter I was talking about earlier. And we're gonna go ahead, put in our Leonas, and we're also gonna toss in that. I'm gonna take out one of the Leonas. So we're gonna have Sejuani, Anivia, and we're gonna hope to try and get a third Freljord in here. We'll toss some tank stuff on there. Although, realistically, I'm going to combine and make a Morello. Morello is really cool because it allows you to prevent enemy healing to at least a degree. It's 33% effectiveness of reducing their healing. You can still heal, but it's just at a reduced rate. So for most champions, that's going to be, you know, getting rid of all their healing. But for a champion like this Thresh, when he had the solo leveling, it would actually be doing a lot, but he'd still be healing a little bit. But we're going to end up moving this Morello over to Thresh, because Thresh isn't really a tank. He's actually a magic fighter. So he wants as much damage as possible. He doesn't want to sit there and just live forever. I mean, he does, but he wants to do it because he was doing a bunch of damage. We're also going to hit an Ashe, which will then give us Freljord. What Freljord does, summons a tower. That tower just gives us bonus health, bonus damage, depending on where units are. These dark blue spaces give us bonus damage, the light blue ones give us bonus health. So I'm going to go ahead, slam in the units all over our Freljord. I'm going to go ahead, put a couple more items down here. This whole time we've been looking for just one other Shadow Isles unit. Because ultimately, I'm not going to be able to see any more Threshes unless we do. You might be asking, why wouldn't you be able to see it? This set's gimmick is unlocks. So you'll see a little lock icon here, and that is because you have to unlock the different units in this set. As there's over 100 units in it. But not every unit can be just found generically. But before we get to do that, we're going to have another augment selection. We're going to have Cybernetic Uplink, Construct Champion, and Spirit of Redemption. Construct Champion is just not going to be good for us here. Cybernetic Uplink is a decent option, but I think I'm going to keep it up as an option for now. Best Friends, I'm not going to do it. Spirit of Redemption is really strong, but I think I am going to end up passing. We're going to pass on the Heroic Grab Bag, and I think I actually am going to take Cybernetic Uplink. We do finally hit a Viego here. So the important part about Viego is that he is what we need to get Yorick. And then we need to have Yorick so that we can actually start getting these other units. Well, I say that because that's normally where it applies. But because we have Thresh, we actually have Shadow Isles 2 already. So we don't need to have Yorick in. It does help us unlock Thresh later down the line, but we don't actually need to have him in. I'm going to go ahead and buy this Garen in my shop. He's a 4-cost, and he has a synergy with our Sejuani here, as they are both defenders, which will just give us a little bit more value than having the Leona in there, as we don't really care to have the Leona in there. I'm going to toss this tier on here, because all these items are going to get moved to Callista when we eventually get her. But for right now, they will just sit on our Viego. And I think I'll also just go ahead and put the Chain Vest on our Garen to make him as strong as possible. So, as of right now, we are just kind of scaling up, leveling, trying to find our units. We should get through our Shadow Isles pretty quickly here, as we are fighting a lot more units per fight, and it is purely just dependent on how many units are dying. So with this guy having a Azir, we're actually going to get a bunch of free souls. We're getting 6 there, which is very nice. But he is in fact AFK and does not have all that much on his board to really gain souls off of. Although I think our board is relatively strong, so even if we did have to fight someone who's got something on his board and is actually playing the game, I think we can hold our own. We're going to come to our next carousel here, And I think what we're going to be looking for is honestly this sword and Wukong combo right here. We are going to be last pick, so it's likely not going to make it to us as it is taken first. That's always how it works. And so now we're going to be looking for something else. We're going to end up leaning towards this Malzahar here with a tier. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to craft a blue buff, which is just a really good option for our Callista when we do eventually get her. I don't really care about the unit that I grabbed in Malzahar. He is a decent unit, but not one that we really need right now. We are going to get Hull Crusher. So what's interesting about Hull Crusher is that you cannot have allied units next to it, but you get a crazy amount of bonus stats. So it's like a trade-off. Do you care about the bonus stats, or do you care about being all clumped up and having perfect positioning? Typically, Hull Crusher is just worth it. Having a unit spread off like this is really not a problem most of the time, but you know, it can be for certain comps. As you know, we don't get to have our Garen in Freljord, and so he isn't getting that bonus health, but he is getting bonus health from Hull Crusher. So we just have to weigh if it offsets the value, and I think it does. We're going to be facing that Choncc team again, and Choncc is going to eat our Garen, which means our Thresh is going to be able to get the uptime to kill the Choncc, but we are still going to lose, as we could not get to that TF before he really scaled into a monster. I am going to buy this Gwen, even though I don't really have a goal of running the Gwen. We do need one of the other Shadow Isle units to be 2-starred, just so that we can actually unlock Thresh and start getting more Threshes, so that we can hit a Thresh 2, and maybe even a Thresh 3, so we are in a good spot. But we do have lesser champion duplicators here, so worst case scenario, I can use those to guarantee that we can get our Thresh. The other requirement for Thresh is being level 8. We also need 6 more kills, or 6 more deaths in combats that we're in for our Callista. So we will have Thresh at the start of next round, because we will get our Callista here, and then we will be able to start gaining Threshes at a reasonable rate. We end up hitting a Callista anyway here, so we're not going to have too many issues. I'm just going to drop all together on the Freljord just for this combat, just so that we can get our Thresh, and then I'll go right back to how it was. I'm going to sell our Yunara here and level up to 8, because we do need to be level 8 so that we can actually get the Thresh. We're going to get a champ drop, and we're also going to get some components. For the most part, I'm not sure I really want to use these components. I just don't. The Giant's Belt could be kind of nice for a Striker's Flail, because we eventually can make a... hold on a second as I move some stuff around really quick. I'm going to end up dropping the Viego as well. Sell that. Gonna sell the Yorick. And we're gonna end up selling the Xenovias as well. I am gonna end up just slamming the Sunfire. Well, I'm not actually, because we do have the Merlos and Thresh, so I'm not gonna sell the Sunfire. And instead, just hold onto the belt for any potential love that we might get that could be used for our Callista. We do end up taking out one of the AFK guys. I believe there's a couple, so this probably isn't, you know, getting played to its fullest, but it is not my problem that that is happening. We're going to get an option of prismatic augments here. We're going to have Band of Thieves ++, exclusive customization, and Jeweled Lotus. Jeweled Lotus is a really fun one because this Thresh will turn into an absolute monster, and I think it's definitely better than those two. Hold the line is good, but our main carry is our Thresh. New Recruit is fun, but I really think Jewel Lotus is where we're going to go, because this Thresh becomes an absolute menace. Also going to end up dropping the Gwen. I really just don't need the Gwen. And it gives us Warden active, which allows for our Thresh to just be that little bit tankier. And yeah, that's where we're sitting right now. I am going to move... no, I am going to just leave it as is. We could grab a Loris 2, because you only need 3 of each unit to get it up to the next star level. So if you have 2 duplicators, we have a Loris 1, and we could turn that into a Loris 2 if we feel like that is necessary. I do intend on keeping them, so it might be an efficient strategy to do so. I do think if we had Dolores 2 in that fight, we would have won it. I am going to just do it, because I don't really have any other value for those duplicators, as I'm tending to play mostly higher cost units here, and those lesser champion duplicators can only be used on 3 costs or below, so like this Ashe or this Anivia, as I cannot use it on an Aatrox or a Thresh or a Garen or Kalista. And since I'm really caring about those units and wanting to play units like that, I'm not going to be able to pick up any kind of major power spike other than the Loris 2 there. We're going to be going against the Choncc team again, and hopefully here we can actually kill the Choncc quick enough to get to this TF, because if we kill the TF, we do just win the fight. He is burning down, and we are going to get him. So we end up winning against that team, and it's giving us so many troubles so far. And we're just going to continue to try and level. That's going to be our goal for right now. Although, we are going to be 3rd pick coming onto this carousel, which I wasn't totally paying attention to. We aren't going to be able to get the Azir, but we are going to maybe be able to grab that Jarvan, who still has a glove. While, yeah, you don't really want to be taking a 1-cost unit this late into the game on Carousel, the glove for this Kalista is so important. Because ultimately, this Aatrox is just a slot in until we get a other Vanquisher, which will then allow our Kalista to crit natively on top of this native crit, which I actually forgot about. So we don't actually need a Vanquisher. We're going to actually not worry about a Vanquisher. We do end up getting a Ornn off this, so we're going to end up being able to create an absolute monster here, as Ornn gets bonus value off artifacts. You can tell if it's an artifact by that little red border, and this Ornn is going to be incredibly tanky for us. We're also going to shift around our items, just put the tank items that we have onto our Garen.
You emerge from your mountain cave, brother.
And I'm just going to keep pushing levels here, because ultimately I have enough health to kind of take some losses if I absolutely need to. We're just going to hope we can hit some Threshes to try and really take over this game. We are going to end up losing this one here to the Xerath and Kai'Sa combo. Kai'Sa does a whole bunch of really good damage to one target, and Xerath does a whole bunch of damage to multiple targets. Also going to end up picking up a Volibear. Volibear is a really strong unit that can take advantage of Freljord really well, but also will gain a bunch of value in terms of just being able to kind of live. Well, that said, we're going to take this Ambessa instead for right now, as it gives us Vanquisher, and this Kalista is basically critting on every single cast, which will give us so much damage in these fights. Because right now, our problem isn't damage. Realistically, our problem is survivability on the damage that we have. As Thresh and Kalista are doing so much damage for us, but they have to be able to live long enough to do it. We're going to lose this fight to the T-Hex, and we're going to hopefully be getting our Choncc treasure for hitting half health here.
For Demacia.
We do not. You can see Orin banging around a little anvil right there. That is because after 4 combats, we get another artifact. So we're going to be looking to try and get many artifacts as possible. And I'm noticing that I am getting 3 Freljord. Oh, right. Because Ornn is a Freljord unit. I'm so used to Ornn in other sets not being a Freljord unit. And so he just doesn't give you that, but he still does similar things.
Stand against them.
I will lead the charge.
We are going to get a Radiant Edge of Night, which I am going to reforge into a Radiant Bloodthirster. And, ladies and gentlemen, this Thresh is going to be an absolute nightmare for our opponents to deal with. As we now move to Freljord 5.
My mustache will eat yours.
I don't need this Professor because I forgot about our Dual Lotus. And now we can play the much stronger board here. Plus the board is way more damage sources, way more survivability. And just create super time. So just going to be pushing levels predominantly, as I really just want to hit level 10 to try and maximize our chances of hitting more Threshes.
Follow me, friends.
Go ahead and place that over there. Toss our Baram, who's just really, really good tank unit, up over here to gain. Give him a stone plate. And then I'm gonna go ahead and give our Volley Bear friend over here a Death Blade. It's gonna be a bunch of free damage for him. I'm gonna sell the Tarek that we had on the bench. He's a really good unit, but I just don't see him fitting into our board here. You can already see that damage coming down from Volley Bear as he just jumps into the middle of the team and does a whole bunch. So yeah, right now we're only really looking for unit upgrades. I mean, Volley Bear 2, Thresh 2, Braum 2, Ornn 2. You know, these big time units on our board actually getting stronger here for us. We're going to get our artifact. And it is going to bug out, as I cannot see the artifact. You see something new every day. I'm not sure what has happened here, but we do not seem to have acquired the artifact from Ornn. It seems to have bugged out, so we are not going to be getting that extra little power spike. Hopefully, after we go to Carousel and come back, that item has actually shown up. But you never know. We might just get screwed here on that. We're going to face a really strong Void team. Baron is a crazy powerful unit. And with an item like Dawn Core and a Radiant Hodge, I mean, that's just wombo combo that is going to be incredibly difficult to beat. So we're going to load into our next carousel here, and I'm looking to see what we can grab here that's going to give us the most value. I mean, the Ornn could definitely be of use to get our way to Ornn 2, although that's going to get picked up. We're just going to grab this Deathblade here. It's not ideal, but I think ultimately I could just put the Deathblade on Callista to give her more damage.
Show them the strength of Demacia.
Instead of the blue buff, where the blue buff can go to Lysandra, we're going to get a Lichbane now. I'm just going to slam this level to then put in Azir and give him this Lichbane. We hit our Thresh 2.
Gun soft.
Azir is a really strong unit, but we could also maybe look for Piltover here. Piltover, you just need 2 units and you get a module. And the modules can just be anything from your whole team gains a bunch of mana to Strike will come down and do a bunch of damage for your team. So I'm going to hold on to her, but I think ultimately, the more I'm thinking about it, I think I'm going to end up going with the Azir. We're going to lose again here, and that's going to put us on 1 HP effectively. Yes, it says 10, but if we were to lose here, we are going to die. No matter who we lose to, that is just how this is going to go. I ended up accidentally selling our extra Braum there. Roll through here, try and find as much as possible to give us more power.
Keep your spirits high.
And that is the best that we're going to be able to do for right now. I think my only chance is to maybe hit this Azir through. I don't think it's going to be enough. Although this board isn't crazy strong. So we might be able to actually punch out a 3rd place here. It's going to be close. And we are going to take him down. So we do end up coming minimum 3rd place here. And he ends up forfeiting. That is insane. We're actually going to come 2nd because the guy who hadn't lost a round yet decided to forfeit. Now, I'm not sure what it was that he did. He probably tried to sell board to be as strong as possible, but just didn't end up hitting. So, and by selling board, he basically sold every unit on his board to try and maybe hit a really rare thing of a 3-star 5 cost. Because hitting a 3-star 5 cost is not really that easy. Not even that easy. It's very difficult. Because it is so hard to actually find that last unit. We're going to end up hitting a Void Staff here, which hopefully can help our Azir give Thresh some good damage. But I think we are going to end up losing here, as that is Kai'Sa 3, so yes, we are definitely going to be losing here. As this is a 3-star 4 cost, you can see those damage values get a little bit ridiculous. So that is going to be GG here. I think we were probably going to lose anyway. It was going to be tight. Although from the looks of it, it was actually going to be a win for us. Had he not had the Kai'Sa 3 do all that damage, I think we actually would have won. So GG's to my opponent. And that is going to be it for us on the Teamfight Tactics side of things for today. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I do ultimately really want to just be kind of a variety YouTuber. I don't really want to be only ever playing one game. So even if I'm playing one game predominantly, I still want to be creating content for other games on the side. And so I think right now, this was a nice opportunity. You know, obviously it wasn't an expected opportunity, but it was a nice opportunity to kind of just start getting into the work of that. And yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed this Teamfight Tactics video. If you want to see more, you know, give me some kind of indication with a like or comment or anything like that you do want to see more TFT. But yeah, I'll have those videos out for the Pantera and the DBS as soon as I can get into Forza. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a nice day.